You're just a bank account with legs. That's what my mom and three sisters told me. The only man in the house. So I shut off every card, bill, and mortgage payment. I walked out for good as they begged and watched their lives fall apart. Hey, Reddit! My family always treated me like a walking ATM. I finally said nah, cut them off, and built my own life. But they didn't go quietly. Before we get to the chaos, let me start from the beginning. My name's Alex Rios. I'm 31, live in a one-bedroom above a laundromat on the east side of town, work at an accounting office doing taxes and small business books. Nothing fancy. My parents divorced when I was in college. Dad lives alone in a condo he swears he'll sell once the market's right. Mom owns a small house across town. Really, the bank owns most of it, where she lives with my three sisters, Jenna, Maya, and Tessa, who are all at different stages of school, jobs, and constant drama. Years ago, I co-signed the mortgage to keep their payments low. Somehow, I became the guy everyone calls when money runs short. Bills due? My phone rings. Car insurance late? There's a voicemail. Someone's tuition or phone bill or trip deposit. It ends up on my card. Mom texted me one night. We need to talk about family stuff. Come by in the morning, that was it. No details, no smiley face, nothing. Just family stuff. So I showed up early, before work, still in my work shirt, and the same gray jacket I've been wearing for years. Her house looked the same as always. Peeling paint near the porch light. Front steps with one corner cracked off. The blinds on the left window stuck halfway down like they'd given up. Inside, the smell hit first. Burnt eggs and that bitter coffee Mom drinks no matter how many times the doctor tells her it messes with her blood pressure. She was at the stove in her old blue robe. Jenna sat at the table with her laptop open, glasses on, hair up in one of those messy buns that somehow takes effort. Maya was on her phone, earbuds in, thumbs moving fast. Tessa leaned against the counter, stirring sugar into her coffee, like she was trying to disappear into it. "Morning," I said, closing the door behind me. Nobody answered right away. The skillet hissed. The AC vent rattled above the fridge. A dog barked down the street. Finally, Mom said, "Sit. We'll talk in a minute." Her voice had that edge, the one I knew from overdue bill weeks when I was younger. I sat. The chair leg wobbled like always. Jenna glanced up from her laptop. "You're early." "You texted me to come," I said. She shrugged like I'd missed the point. Maya didn't even look up. Mom brought the eggs to the table. Overcooked, rubbery, sliding around on a chipped plate. "Eat if you want." I didn't. She sat across from me, folded her hands, and got right to it. "We've been talking," she said. "We." That meant her and the girls. Never Dad. He was across town, probably still asleep, phone on silent. Jenna closed her laptop like she was the lawyer here. "Mom, just say it," she said. Mom took a breath. "Alex, you help with money, and we appreciate that. But you don't bring much else to this family." I waited for more. That was it. Maya finally looked up from her phone. "It's true," she said. "You don't come to stuff. You don't talk much. You just send money." Tessa spoke softer. "Let's not fight. I'm just saying maybe they have a point. You do help, but we handle everything else. Decisions, plans, all that." I looked at each of them. Mom with her robe sleeve dragging in the eggs. Jenna with that tight-lipped smirk like she was presenting evidence. Maya already back on her phone, thumbs flying. Tessa biting her lip like she wanted to stay neutral, but couldn't help adding, "We do count on you, though. A lot. Count on me." Yeah. None of them knew I'd already moved most of the shared funds out last month. I'm tired of mystery charges on the family credit card that somehow always came from Maya's favorite clothing site, or Jenna's textbook orders that got refunded to her account instead of the shared one. I didn't tell them any of that. I just sat there, hands in my jacket pockets, feeling the heat from the skillet fade out while the air conditioner clicked on again. Mom poured herself more coffee. The pot was cracked near the handle, same as last year. She said, "We're not trying to be harsh. It's just, maybe we expect too much, and you expect too much back. You know?" I didn't know. Jenna added, "Like the house thing. We talk about maybe buying, maybe moving. You don't need to stress over that. We'll figure it out." "Figure it out with my signature on the mortgage," she meant. Maya laughed at something on her phone, not even at the conversation. Tessa pushed the sugar jar toward Mom and said, "Let's not make it ugly. He does help. We just maybe need space too." Space. That was funny, coming from people who texted me every time a bill was late, or tuition was short, or the car insurance renewal came up. I stood up. Chair scraped loud on the tile. "You done?" I asked. Mom looked surprised, like she expected me to argue or promise something. "We're just talking, Alex." "Yeah," I said. "I got it. I put on my jacket, the gray one with the loose thread near the cuff, and headed for the door. Maya didn't look up. Jenna sighed like I was being dramatic. Tessa said, "Don't be mad," but she didn't sound too worried. Outside, the air felt cooler than inside. Neighbor's dog barked again. A delivery truck rattled past, bass thumping from the cab. I sat in my car a second before starting it. The house looked smaller from the driveway. Same curtains, same half-broken porch light. I wasn't angry, not really. More like clear, like someone finally said what they'd been hinting at for years. And now I didn't have to guess anymore. I drove off toward work. My apartment was across town, tiny place above a laundromat, but it was mine. And for the first time in a while, that felt like something. Key. The thing about becoming the reliable one is it doesn't happen all at once. Nobody stands up and declares, "Hey, from now on, you're the guy who pays for everything." It's little stuff at first. A phone bill here, a tank of gas there, one excuse after another. For me, it started in community college right after the divorce. Mom said raising 3 girls on her own was draining. Dad said the child support plus losing his factory job wrecked him financially. They both said it like they were explaining the weather, something that just happened. So when the lights got shut off at Mom's place one December, it was me who took my grocery money and paid the reconnect fee. I was working part-time stocking shelves at a supermarket back then, eating ramen, living in a dorm the college called basic housing, because roach-friendly was too honest. But I paid it because Mom said, "We'll pay you back next month." Next month never came. Jenna needed textbooks for her second semester. I swiped my card at the campus bookstore because she was standing there embarrassed, whispering about lines on her credit report. "Just until Dad catches up on support," Mom promised. Maya dropped her phone and cracked the screen so bad she couldn't answer calls. She was crying about emergency stuff, so I bought her a new one from a discount place near the bus station. Tessa got rear-ended in the high school parking lot. No injuries, but her car insurance lapsed because Mom forgot the due date. I added her to my plan temporarily so she wouldn't get fined for driving uninsured. That was year 1. By year 2, it wasn't even a conversation anymore. "Can you spot me this week?" turned into, "What day will the transfer hit?" Mom opened a family expenses checking account under my name because I had the best credit. She said it would be easier for everyone. I started keeping receipts in a shoebox, notes on envelopes, screenshots on my phone when I paid something big. At first, it was so I wouldn't forget. Later, it was so I couldn't be gaslit into thinking I imagined it all. The first time it really stung was with Maya. She showed up at my apartment one night shaking like she was about to be arrested. Said her credit card was in collections. She owed over $1,000. They were threatening court. I didn't even hesitate. Paid the balance online while she sat on my secondhand couch, dabbing at her eyes with tissues from a roll of toilet paper because I didn't own Kleenex. She hugged me, said I saved her life. A week later, she posted photos on Instagram. Her and 2 friends in matching sunglasses on a beach with the caption "Girls Trip." I recognized the charges on my statement. The resort, the bar, the Uber rides. Jenna was no better. She called the gap in her tuition an investment in her future. "You're helping the family long-term," she said, like she was pitching a startup. Then, 2 nights later at dinner, she told everyone my accounting job was kinda basic compared to her graduate program in communications management. Tessa stayed polite through everything. Always said thanks. Always offered to pay me back when things settled down. But she kept forgetting to cancel streaming subscriptions that hit the shared credit card. Some months the bill was triple what it should have been, because every free trial turned into a recurring charge nobody admitted to. And then there was Dad. He called me one Saturday saying the used truck he found was a great deal, but the dealer wanted someone with better credit for the financing. He said it was temporary, 3 months at most, just until his next contracting job came through. I signed because he was my dad, and because he made it sound like life or death. The first late notice came to my email, not his. He hadn't even told me he missed a payment. By then, the shoebox of receipts wasn't cutting it. I bought a cheap notebook from the dollar store and started a running list. Every bill, every account, every time my name or card or credit score got tied to someone else's problem. The list got long fast. Mortgage cosign from years back when Mom wanted stability for the girls. Phone plan with 6 lines under my name. Car insurance with 3 drivers besides me. Credit cards, tuition payments, medical bills, random utilities when shut-off notices arrived in bright orange envelopes. One night I sat at my wobbly kitchen table flipping through pages, highlighter in one hand, pen in the other, color-coding things by urgency. Pink for recurring transfers. Yellow for debts technically mine now. Blue for stuff I could cut off if I wanted. I looked at the blue section a long time. That was the first time I realized how much power I actually had. It had been about 2 weeks since that breakfast at Mom's place. Things were quiet, but not in a good way. Jenna had stopped texting me about her tuition bills. Maya hadn't asked for gas money in days. Mom only sent one message about the electric bill before following it up with, "We'll figure it out." That was unusual. Normally, the family group chat was nonstop. Car insurance reminders, bills due dates, emergency phone upgrades that somehow always fell on me. So when my phone buzzed on a Wednesday afternoon with Jenna's name, I figured the silence was over. Instead, she wrote, "We're taking you out Friday night. Our treat." Maya followed with, "Family night, you deserve it." Even Mom chimed in, "You've done so much for this family. Let us do something nice for you." Tessa sent a simple, "Be there. It'll be fun." I almost didn't go. The week at work had been a mess. Tax season always was, and the last thing I wanted was small talk over overpriced food. But they hadn't done anything for me in years. And maybe I wanted to believe just a little that this was them turning a corner. The restaurant was one of those trendy downtown spots with wooden tables that looked like they came from a barn and light bulbs hanging on cords like the ceiling wasn't finished. The kind of place where the menus were printed on recycled paper and the water came in mason jars. I found the table near the back. Mom was already there in her good earrings. Jenna had her laptop bag slung over the chair like she'd just come from a big meeting. Maya was taking selfies before I even sat down. Tessa smiled and said, "Finally, the guest of honor." "Order whatever you want," Mom said. "Tonight's about you." They handed me the menu, but half the table had already ordered appetizers before I got there. Wings, sliders, some flatbread with goat cheese nobody could pronounce. Maya filmed the whole table for her story. "Family night," she announced to her followers. Tessa nudged me. "Get the steak," she said. "When do you ever splurge?" So I ordered the steak. Everyone else got seafood pasta, more appetizers, a round of drinks. Jenna ordered the chef's special that cost more than my groceries for a week. Halfway through the meal, Jenna raised her glass. "Alex works harder than anyone here. This is the least we can do." Everyone nodded like they were in a commercial for togetherness. Then the check came. The waiter set the black folder in the middle of the table. Jenna slid it toward me without even looking up. "Here, you handle this," she said. I blinked. "I thought this was your treat." Maya laughed like I was joking. "You make the most money, duh." Mom said it louder so the tables around us could hear, "Don't be tight, Alex. It's your birthday. You should want to pay for everyone." "That's generous." Jenna smirked. "Maybe he's embarrassed because of that car." "I drive a 2012 Honda with a dent in the bumper. Paid off. Reliable. Not pretty." Maya added, "Or maybe he's saving for a haircut." That thing screams midlife crisis. The waiter shifted his weight like he wanted to disappear. I put my card down. The total was more than my rent. Nobody said thank you. They just gathered their purses, stood up, and started talking about dessert somewhere else. A week later, Mom called a family meeting. This time I knew better than to expect anything good. When I got there, Jenna had a slideshow pulled up on her laptop of houses way out of their budget. "We want to buy," Mom said. "Something bigger. Better schools, nicer neighborhood." I nodded slowly. "Okay, and?" "We need you to co-sign," Jenna said, like it was obvious. "Lenders love stable income." Maya added, "Yeah, and you've got the credit. Plus, you're single. No dependents." Mom waved her hand like this was all routine. "It's just paperwork. We'll handle the payments. You won't have to lift a finger." "You're behind on the mortgage now," I said. "That was bad luck," Mom replied quickly. "Things happen." Jenna leaned forward. If we stay here, I might have to drop classes. How am I supposed to focus on grad school with the neighbors fighting outside at midnight?" Maya crossed her arms. "He makes the most. Shouldn't he lead? That's what men do, right?" Tessa, trying to stay neutral, said, "Maybe we slow down. Get through the semester first." Then she looked at me and added, "But can we at least keep the family phone plan? It saves everyone money." I didn't answer. 2 days later at my cousin's wedding, Uncle Ray yelled across the reception hall, "Hey, Alex, you covering the honeymoon too? You're the family wallet, right?" People laughed. Jenna smirked. Maya filmed it for her story like it was the funniest thing she'd ever heard. I laughed too, but it felt like swallowing glass. Driving home that night, I kept thinking about the notebook back in my apartment with the pink, yellow, and blue highlighter marks. I was done waiting for them to change. I wanted facts, numbers, options. The next call I made wasn't to Mom. It was to a lawyer. Mr. Torres had an office downtown in one of those glass buildings with names of firms printed in silver letters by the elevator. I remembered him because he handled Dad's failed consulting business a few years back. He knew the family's mess already, at least some of it. When I told the receptionist my name, she said, "He can see you tomorrow at 9. Bring any documents you have." So I spent the evening digging through my file cabinet and email archives. Bank statements, credit card agreements, car insurance policies, the old mortgage paperwork from when Mom swore she'd keep up the payments. I scanned everything into PDFs on a thumb drive. Torres was the kind of guy who looked like he was always 2 steps ahead of whatever you were about to say. Neat desk, no clutter, expensive pen in his shirt pocket. He listened while I laid it out. Automatic transfers, credit cards in my name, family phone plans, the mortgage cosign from 5 years back. When I finished, he tapped the stack of papers. "So you want to know what you can legally shut off or separate from?" "Exactly." He started flipping through, making quick notes. "The transfers? Completely voluntary. You can cancel those today if you want." I nodded. "The credit cards? You're the primary holder. You can report them lost, get new ones, close old accounts. No one can stop you." Another nod. "Phone lines under your name? You can remove secondary users anytime. They'd have 30 days to find new service." "And the mortgage?" I asked. He looked at that paperwork longer. "This one's tricky. You can't just remove yourself. The lender will require a refinance in Mom's name without you. If they can't qualify, the lender can demand a refi under the acceleration clause and may call the balance due." "So if I refuse to keep guaranteeing it, they'll push for a refi?" He nodded. "Yes. If they can't, the loan can be accelerated. They'd have 30 days to either refinance without you or pay it off completely." I sat back. "Okay." Torres put his pen down. "Do you want to proceed with all this?" "Not yet," I said. "I want to know my options first." That lunch break, I sat in my car with my work laptop open and started making calls. Bank. Automatic transfers could be canceled instantly. Just a few clicks, and the money flow stops cold. Credit card company. If I reported cards as lost or stolen, new ones would ship to me within 3 business days. Old ones would die overnight. Phone carrier. Removing 3 lines would give them 30 days before service ended. After that, they'd have to start their own accounts. Car insurance. Removing secondary drivers would take effect next billing cycle. Their premiums on separate policies would be way higher without my record attached. I wrote all of it down in the notebook I started months ago, the same one with the pink, yellow, and blue highlights. I added timelines next to each item. 30 days. 3 days. Next cycle. Immediate. I decided on a deadline. 1 week. If nobody apologized. If nobody treated me like anything other than a wallet. If nothing changed, I'd start pulling plugs. I circled the date on my wall calendar in red pen. The next day, I started locking things down quietly. I changed every password, banking, credit cards, utilities, to new ones stored in an encrypted app. Turned on 2-factor authentication for every account. Removed my backup email from the shared family Gmail they all had access to. I downloaded PDFs of every statement from the past 2 years. Saved them to an external drive. If they tried to claim I blindsided them, I'd have the receipts. I set up paperless notifications to my personal email only. Canceled forwarding rules that sent anything to Mom for convenience. Nobody noticed. The rest of the week I kept things normal on purpose. Answered texts. Sent the usual "I'll see" when Jenna hinted about tuition deadlines. Nodded along when Mom complained about grocery prices. But at night, I'd flip through the notebook, now thick with notes and dates and steps in order. By Sunday, everything was ready. Transfers, cards, phone lines, insurance, even the mortgage paperwork sitting in a folder labeled Torres. Monday morning, I woke up before my alarm for the first time in months. I actually slept through the night. I started on Monday morning. No warnings, no texts, nothing. First thing at work, I logged into the bank and killed the automatic $800 transfer that hit Mom's account on the first of every month. 3 clicks, done. For years, that money kept their mortgage, utilities, and groceries from collapsing. Now it stayed in my account. Next was car insurance. Dad and Tessa had been writing my policy for years. Cheaper premiums, because my name and clean record were on it. I called the company, gave the policy number, told the rep to remove 2 drivers. "They'll have to start separate accounts," she said. "Rates will be higher." "Not my problem," I said. Before lunch, I reported all the family credit cards lost. Replacement cards would ship to me in 3 business days. The old ones would be dead by morning. By the end of day 1, I'd cut 3 major pipelines they lived on like oxygen. Nobody knew yet. Tuesday morning, I called the carrier and removed 3 lines. Per their policy, they get 30 days before shutoff. I didn't send a warning. I emailed Torres. "Go ahead. He sent a notice of non-consent and a release request to the lender. No more extensions with my name on them. A week later, the lender replied in writing, refinance without me within 30 days, or they'd proceed under the acceleration clause. The first call came from Maya around lunchtime. My card got declined at the cafe, she said, voice sharp. What is going on? The card is canceled, I said. You need your own. Excuse me? I didn't repeat myself. I hung up. 5 minutes later, Jenna sent a long email about ruining her academic momentum because the tuition autopay failed. She used phrases like financial sabotage and family betrayal like she was writing a drama script. Mom left a voicemail. Whatever you're pulling, it ends tonight. There will be consequences. Dad sent one text. Fix whatever you did. Your mother is upset. That was it. By Wednesday, utilities started bouncing. Mom called from the bank parking lot, furious. I could hear traffic and wind through the phone. They're saying the mortgage company needs signatures. Something about refinancing? Why are they saying this? Talk to them, I said. They'll explain. Alex, stop playing games. I hung up. Thursday morning, Jenna tried again, this time by text. So you're just cutting everyone off? No warning? This is disgusting. I didn't answer. Maya left 3 voicemails, each angrier than the last. You don't get to do this. You're punishing us for nothing. Grow up, Alex. By Friday, the group chat lit up like fireworks. Screenshots of declined payments. Angry all-caps messages about phone lines, car insurance notices, the credit card portal locking them out. Mom finally called while I was making dinner. They're saying the whole loan might get called in, she said, voice tight with panic. Yep, I said, stirring pasta. 30 days, Alex. They said we have to refinance without you or they can call the balance. I understand completely. You're going to destroy this family. I didn't respond. That evening, I sat in my apartment eating pasta with jar sauce and frozen vegetables. First real meal I'd actually tasted in months. No vibrating phone on the table. No checking my balance before rent cleared. No anxiety about which bill would arrive next in bright orange envelopes stamped past due. Just quiet. Saturday morning, they started blowing up my phone again. Maya first. I have a work trip next week. How am I supposed to rent a car with no card? This is insane. Then Jenna. Do you even care about my education? You've ruined everything. I can't focus like this. Mom left a long voicemail about how a real son wouldn't do this, and how she raised me better. Sunday afternoon, Mom tried calling while I was at the grocery store. I let it ring out. She texted right after, We are at the bank. They said you filed something official. You better come down here today. I didn't. By the end of the week, my email was full of alerts from the bank, the mortgage company, the phone carrier, all confirming changes. I closed the notebook that night. All the pink, yellow, and blue highlights, every date, every account, done. I made another pot of pasta. Sat by the window watching cars pass on the street below. The phone buzzed again and again on the counter. I didn't look. For the first time in years, the noise wasn't my problem. Mom texted me Tuesday afternoon. Come by tonight. We need to talk like family. Dinner's on us. I laughed when I read it. Last time dinner's on us cost me half my paycheck. Tessa added, It's just to talk. Things got heated. Please. So I showed up. Same house, same squeaky screen door, same broken porch light flickering like it was begging for retirement. Inside, the air felt heavy. Jenna sat at the table with her laptop closed, eyes red like she'd been crying but didn't want anyone to notice. Maya paced by the window, arms crossed, muttering under her breath about how this whole thing is stupid. Mom looked tired, hair pulled back, makeup half done like she quit halfway through getting ready. Tessa tried smiling when I came in. Hey, Alex. We made pasta. Let me guess, I said, hanging my jacket on the chair. I'm paying for dessert afterward? Nobody laughed. I set the manila folder on the table. Thick stack, mortgage letters, insurance changes, bank statements, credit card notices, an itemized list of 6 years of payments with dates and amounts, highlighted in 3 colors. All right, I said, pulling out the first page. Here's what's ending and when. Transfers? Gone? Insurance? New policies in your name start next month. Phone lines? The clock's already running. Credit cards? Dead as of last week. Mom rubbed her forehead. Alex, sweetie, we were upset when we said things before. We didn't mean it the way it sounded. Right, I said. You accidentally called me useless while cashing my checks. Easy mistake. Jenna leaned forward. My housing near campus depends on that account. I can't focus on grad school with all this chaos. Sounds like a personal problem, I said, flipping to the next page. Maya stopped pacing. So you're abandoning us? After everything? I smirked. After everything, yes. Tessa spoke carefully. Maybe we could phase this out slower? Just until the semester ends? I shook my head. I'm not a plan B anymore. I'm my own plan. Mom tried again, voice rising. We are your family. Families stick together. I slid the printed spreadsheet across the table. Funny. When I was paying off Maya's credit card for that emergency, nobody mentioned sticking together. Then she posted beach selfies. Maya snapped, "You're such a jerk." It was one trip. Charged to my account, I said. Cute sunglasses, though. Jenna slammed her palm on the table. We're drowning here and you're making jokes? Don't worry, I said, pulling out the mortgage letter. This part's not a joke. Bank says refinance without me in 30 days, or they can call the balance. Tick-tock. Mom's face went pale. You wouldn't. I already did, I said, sliding the notice across to her. Mom tried one last time. Alex, we said things we regret. We were stressed. This family has been through a lot. Yeah, I said, stacking the papers back into the folder. And most of it charged to my account. Jenna's voice cracked. So what? You're just walking away? Not empty-handed, I said, slipping the originals back into the folder. These copies stay here. Banks, insurance, phone company, contact info's on the last page. From now on, they'll talk to you. Maya crossed her arms. You think you're better than us now? No, I said, standing. I think I'm separate from you now. Big difference. Tessa spoke quietly. We can work this out, Alex. Maybe meet halfway. I shook my head. I'm done meeting anywhere near this table. Mom slammed her coffee mug down so hard it splashed. You're tearing this family apart. I pointed at the stack of bills on the counter. No, those did. I picked up the folder, tucking the originals under my arm. I'll answer legal emails only, I said. Everything else? Not my department. Nobody moved as I walked to the door. Outside, the air felt lighter. I didn't slam the door. Didn't look back. Sometimes the loudest thing you can do is leave quietly. 6 months after I dropped the paperwork on their table, things looked a lot different. Dad kept the truck 3 more months and then lost it. The late payments put a small ding on my credit. I'm still unwinding. Mom and the girls didn't lose the house right away. They scrambled, begged the bank for extensions, called every relative they had to co-sign, tried GoFundMe for a week until people in town started commenting things like, "Didn't your son pay for everything?" That campaign disappeared overnight. By the end of the month, the house was gone. They moved into a 2-bedroom apartment behind a strip mall, the kind with thin walls and a parking lot full of cars with mismatched doors. Mom told anyone who would listen that it was temporary, even though she signed a 12-month lease. Jenna paused grad school, said she couldn't focus with all this family stress. Translation, tuition payments stopped when I did. Maya picked up extra shifts at the cafe, stopped posting vacation photos. Her Instagram turned into latte art and inspirational quotes about strong women surviving tough times. Tessa was the only one who figured things out. She rented a room from a coworker, got her own car insurance, and texted me once. Hey, I got a cheaper rate than yours. Thanks for making me handle it. The first month after the cutoff was loud. Calls, texts, long paragraphs about how selfish I was. Mom left a voicemail every other day. You can't just abandon your family like this, Alex. We raised you better. Jenna emailed me 3 pages titled, A Formal Letter Regarding Our Relationship. She used phrases like emotional bankruptcy and moral obligation. Maya texted, Hope you're happy. Some of us can't sleep wondering where bills are coming from. I didn't answer any of it. 2 months in, the tone changed. Mom wrote, I shouldn't have said what I said that morning. We were stressed. Let's start over. Jenna sent one that began, Maybe we didn't appreciate you enough. Maya didn't apologize. She just asked for my Netflix password back. I ignored all 3. 3 months in, I bought a small townhouse on the edge of town. 2 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, a yard with patchy grass. Older place, but solid. No one's name on the mortgage but mine. The first night, I sat on the floor eating takeout lo mein, straight from the box, because I didn't own a table yet. No buzzing phone. No stack of bills with other people's names on them. Just quiet. It felt better than any birthday dinner they ever threw. Meanwhile, Mom called once from an unknown number. Alex, she said when I answered. The neighbors are rude. The landlord's useless. The plumbing here is terrible. Sounds rough, I said. Maybe the landlord will co-sign your next mortgage. Don't be smart, she snapped. We wouldn't even be here if you hadn't gone nuclear. I laughed. You called me worthless at breakfast. I just agreed with you financially. She hung up. Jenna cornered me in the grocery store a few weeks later. I was in the cereal aisle comparing prices. She walked up holding a basket with 2 items like she was in a movie about chance encounters. Alex, she said, we were under pressure. People say things. You wrote a 3-page essay about how useless I am, I said, grabbing the store-brand Cheerios. Her jaw tightened. You read it then. Best comedy I've read all year, I said, tossing the box in my cart. She muttered something about me being heartless and walked off without buying anything. 4 months in, Tessa stopped by with takeout. No speeches, no drama. Figured you might not be eating right, she said, setting the bag on my counter. I'm doing fine, I said, opening the container. I know, she said. Just, thanks for forcing me to grow up. Got my own policy, own plan. Feels good. She didn't stay long. Just ate, talked about work, left quietly. First normal conversation I'd had with family in years. 6 months in, I had a real routine. Fixed the leaky bathroom sink watching a how-to video. Bought a second-hand desk, decent chair, shelves for the pantry. Started a small emergency fund. Saturdays, I played pickup soccer with guys from work. Evenings, I cooked simple meals. Nothing fancy, but mine. Deleted the old family group email from my phone. One night, I drove past their apartment complex. Jenna's car had a dent in the door now. Maya's bumper was held on with tape. Lights off in half the windows, even though it was barely 9. For a second, I thought about stopping. Then I remembered the breakfast where they called me useless between bites of eggs I bought. I kept driving. Last week, I bought a small plant for the kitchen window. No idea what kind it is. Something green on clearance at the hardware store. Surprised it's still alive? This morning, I sat at the table with sunlight coming through the half-bent blinds. The same notebook that used to track every bill and transfer was open in front of me. Now it just had a grocery list. A reminder to call the dentist. At the top of the page, I wrote one line. I'm responsible for me. Closed the notebook. Felt normal. Which was exactly the point.